So since Neuro wasn't working this morning, I'm going to go over our Unit B test review in this video. So the first question, it says, what binomials are factors of x squared minus 6x, x squared plus 6x minus 40? So remember, this is the one where we use the trinomial patterns to factor. So here, c equals negative 40. So we need to look for two factors of c that are going to add up to b. So since 40 is negative, we know that we need a positive factor and a negative factor. Since b is positive, our bigger factor is going to be positive. So you start off by listing out the factors of 40. So we have 1 and 40, 2 and 20, 3, 4 and 10, 5 and 8, and those are all the factors of 40. So the bigger factors will be positive, and let's make the smaller factors negative and find the sums. So the sum here is 39. We have 18, 6, and 3. So the correct combination will be minus 4 and 10. So this will factor into x minus 4 times x plus 10. So here it asks me to write an expression equivalent to x squared minus 6x plus 9. There's two ways to do this problem, and I'm going to show you both ways. One way is to recognize that this follows the pattern a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, which is one of our special factoring patterns. Because you can see here, this is x squared minus 2 times x times 3 plus 3 squared. So that equals a minus b squared, which is equal to x minus 3 squared. That's one way to factor this problem. Another way is to use the ABC method. And we're looking for factors of 9 that add up to minus 6. So c equals 9, and it has to add up to negative 6. So we know that when we have a positive number, we have either two negative or two positive factors. Since c equals 9 and b equals negative 6, we need two negative factors. So let's look at the factors of 9. So we have 1 and 9 and 3 and 3. When we make them all negative, the correct combination is negative 3 and negative 3. So this gives us x minus 3 times x minus 3, which is equivalent to x minus 3 squared. So here it asks me to find the zeros of g of x equals negative x squared plus 5x plus 14. So when you want to find the zeros, you have to first set your equation equal to 0. So that's negative x squared plus 5x plus 14. So when you have your leading coefficient that's negative, what you want to do is you want to first factor out that negative, just like you would a GCF. So I'm going to divide negative 1 from this entire problem. So now this will leave you with 0 equals x squared minus 5x minus 14. So now I'm going to factor this. So this is A, this is B, and this is C. So I have C equals negative 14. So since C is negative, I need a positive and a negative factor. B is negative, so that means my bigger factor is going to be negative. So let's list out the factors of 14 and make the bigger factor negative. So when I add these up, here I get negative 13, and then here I get negative 5. So my factors are 0 equals x plus 2 times x minus 7. So since this equals 0, I'm going to write it out as two factors. So I have x plus 2 equals 0, and x minus 7 equals 0. Remember, I need to use those opposite operations to factor out to figure out the value of x. So I subtract 2 here, and that gives me x equals negative 2. Here I add 7, and that gives me x equals 7. So my two solutions are x equals negative 2 and x equals 7. When I write this trinomial in factored form, I have to remember that negative 1 that I divided out. So when I write it in factored form, it's negative 1 times x plus 2 times x minus 7. So when you write it in factored form, you have to leave that negative in front. So now this problem asks me to find the factors of 6x squared plus x minus 15. So this is one where a is not equal to 1. So I have to start off my problem by multiplying a times c. A times c is 6 times negative 15. And if I do that on my calculator, I'll get 6 times negative 15, which is negative 90. So now, since my product is negative 90, I know I need a positive factor and a negative factor. B is positive, so my bigger factor is going to be positive. So let's list out the factors of 90. So that's 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 30, 4, 5, let's see if 6 works, 6 and 15, 9 and 10, and that should be all of them. So the bigger factor is going to stay positive, and let's make the smaller factors negative and see which one gives me the sum. So remember, if there's no number in front of B, that is 1. So this is negative 1 and 90, so that's 89. Negative 2 and 45 is 43. It's 27, 9. And this is the correct combination, minus 9 and 10. So when I write this out, I have 6x squared minus 9x plus 10x minus 15. I'm going to put my factors into two groups. So I get these two and these two. So now let's look at 6x squared and 9x. The GCF there is 3x. So I'm going to divide out a 3x from both terms. And that'll give me 3x times 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. Whoops. It erased for some reason. And then minus 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then x over x will just cancel itself out. Now from 10x minus 15, the GCF is 5. So I have plus 5. And then we have 10x divided by 5 minus 15 divided by 5. So 10 over 5 is 2, so that's 2x minus 15 divided by 5 is 3. So my factors will be, remember, 2x minus 3, and then whatever's left, so that 3x plus 5. So this one asks us what's the factors of 64x squared minus 16. So if you look at this problem, you'll recognize that these are two perfect squares. And if you don't remember the perfect squares, remember to use that chart that I sent you. So these are perfect squares because remember 8 squared is 64. So 8x squared is 64x squared. Minus 4 squared is 16. So remember when we have a squared minus b squared, that equals a plus b times a minus b. In this case, a is 8x and b is 4. So this will equal 8x plus 4 times 8x minus 4. So this asks, what are the solutions to 3x squared plus 7x plus 2 equals 0? So remember, first we have to factor this and then set it equal to 0 in order to find the solutions. So let's multiply a times c. So that's 3 times 2, which equals 6. 6 is positive and 7 is positive, so we need two positive factors of 6. So let's list out the factors of 6. They're 1 and 6, 2 and 3, and they're all positive. So 1 and 6 is 7, which gives us the correct combination. So when we write this, we have 3x squared plus 1x plus 6x plus 2 equals 0. So let's group our terms. The GCF of 3x squared and 1x is just 1x. So we divide that out. And so this gives us x times 3x squared. 3 over 1 is 3. X squared over x is x. 1x over 1x, that'll just cancel. And that cancels, so that'll be 3x plus 1. Then we have plus, the GCF of 6x and 2 is 2. So let's divide out a 2 from both terms. So that's plus 2 times 6 divided by 2 is 3, and then we have x, and then plus 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So now when we write our factors, we have x plus 2 times 3x plus 1. So now what we do is we set each of our factors equal to 0, and we're going to solve for x. So x plus 2 equals 0 means we subtract 2 from both sides, and you get x equals negative 2. Here, to solve for x, I'm going to first start off by subtracting 1. So I get 3x equals negative 1. Then I divide by 3, and I get x equals negative 1/3. So those are the solutions to this problem. So this asks what binomials are factors of x squared plus 4x minus 21. So this is once again a, b, and c. A is 1, so we just have to look at the value of c. C is negative 21. So when I have a negative, remember I need a positive factor and a negative factor. B is positive, so that means my bigger factor is going to be positive. So let's write out the factors of 21. So we have 1 and 21, 3 and 7, and let's make the bigger factor positive and the smaller one negative. So when we look at the sum, the correct sum is minus 3 and plus 7. So our factors will be x minus 3 times x plus 7. So now we need to find the factors of 5x squared plus 13x minus 6. So this is A, this is B, this is C. A times C is 5 times negative 6, so that equals negative 30. So since this is negative, we need a positive factor and a negative factor. B is positive, so my bigger factor is going to be positive. So when you list out the factors, we have 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10. And let's make the smaller factor negative. So this sum will be 29. This will be 13. And then this will be 7. So minus 2 and 15 are the correct combination. So we write 5x squared plus 15x minus 2x minus 6. Let's group these terms together. So the GCF of 5x squared and 15x is 5x. So we have 5x squared divided by 5x plus 15x divided by 5x. So that's going to be 5x times 5 over 5 is 1. X squared over x is just x, so that's going to be x. 15 over 5 is 3, and then the x will cancel. And then minus 2x minus 6. Remember, anytime you have a minus, you want to go ahead and factor that out. So we're going to divide out minus 2. Oh, I wrote it on the wrong line. I'm going to write it up here. So minus 2 times minus 2x divided by minus 2 minus 6 divided by minus 2. So minus 2 or minus 2 will cancel, leaving me with x. And then negative 6 over negative 2 will be plus 3. So this gives us 5x minus 2 times x plus 3. And those are your factors. So here it asks us to factor 4x squared plus 28x plus 49 completely. The thing to recognize here is that this follows that pattern, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. How did I know to check for that pattern? The reason is because notice that these two are perfect squares. So that's how I knew to check for that pattern. So this is that pattern where this is 2x squared plus 2 times 2x. And then the b value I find because 7 squared is 49. So 2 times 2x times 7. And that does check. So that means that this equals 2x plus 7 squared because it follows that special factoring pattern.